Hey everyone, Nicholas Cosplays and Sketches here, back to another video, and of course today what I'll be doing is I'll be doing another podcast, this time with someone else. This time it's going to be a podcast with cosplayflower. So without further ado, let's start the podcast. Alright guys, so here I am with, of course, cosplayflower, who is dressed up as the X-Men character Jubilee.
Hi, everybody.
So, Jubilee, well, how's it going in the X-Mansion going?
It's going, like lifestyle here, it's not always easy. I try to lay low, I kind of get away, I kind of come back,
Hmm.
kind of like Logan, but the only difference is that I got to report to Scott, so whenever I get away, he finds out, evidently I get in trouble. Other times I get away and nobody finds out, I just have to make sure I let somebody know in case something happens to me, but other than that, I mean, it's going dandy, so, you gotta keep moving forward.
Yep. Questions. Yes or no? Star Wars or Star Trek?
Mm, I'd say Star Trek. I kind of grew up a little bit more with Star Trek than I did with Star Wars.
I grew up with more Star Wars than Star Trek. I mean, I love Star Trek per se, and I watched it when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid, and watched it with my dad when I got back home from school. But
Okay.
yeah, Star Wars is better. No, Star Wars is better to say. Yeah. Disney Plus or DC Universe.
Honestly, I don't dabble in any of those two. Realistically, since I'm a little bit busy, I kind of just stick with the traditional stuff that I already have, which is Hulu. It's which is not even mine.
Netflix.
Netflix,
Uh,
yeah, and some Amazon Prime. Because with
yeah.
Amazon Prime, at least I get to see a couple of cartoons that I grew up with. So,
Um.
and with whatever, then everything else in between is like other things that I need to do outside of like the
mm,
mansion and stuff like that.
mm, let's see. Clone Wars or Rebels?
Mm, Rebels, I guess. I honestly haven't seen uh, much anything with Star Wars. Like the closest thing I know about Star Wars lately is
Mandalorian.
uh, yeah, only because Baby Yoda, and then when I go to work, all my partners tell me like the episodes and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and that's honestly
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I like one of my favorite episodes is like the prison riot, the prison
Okay.
riot episode. That was one of my favorites. The reason why, because, well, it has some great cameos. Like we got Matt Lantern as the New Republic security guard, who voices
Okay.
Anakin in the Clone Wars TV
Mm-hmm.
series. And not only that, we also got to see one of the X-wing pilots, Dave Filoni, who was cameoed as one of the New Republic X-wing pilots. I mean, that was
Okay.
pretty amazing. Dave Filoni, for if you don't know who Dave Filoni is basically the creator of both Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and Star Wars Rebels. He basically created the
Okay.
shows. He also created Ahsoka, and not only that, he also created, I guess, many other things. I can't remember what he created, but he created Ahsoka though, who was
Okay.
like the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker in the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She's the one with the white blue braids or head thing going on.
yeah, that's the one,
Okay.
Ahsoka. I
Okay.
mean,
Okay.
she's quickly one of my favorite characters. And of course, along with Captain Rex. Oh yeah, Dave Filoni also created Captain Rex and
Mm-hmm.
created each of the personality of the clone troopers. Since,
Okay.
well, the clone
Nice.
troopers, they were not that pretty interesting in the prequels, since people are saying
Mm-hmm.
that the clones, they're just not interesting. But then when the Clone Wars was released, it all
Mm-hmm.
changed, and they absolutely fell in love with the clones. They absolutely fell in love with Captain Rex, Cody,
Mm-hmm.
Gregor. I mean, they're clones that sure, the clones, they're the same person, but they have different personalities. Like, for example, there was a clone that left his place and decided to be a family man instead. And then there was a clone that forgot who he really is and just served his life as a
Okay.
slave and worked as a dishwasher in
Wow.
a diner. Yeah, which
Interesting.
yeah, that's Gregor. Gregor, who is a clone commando. Yep, he's a clone commando. And then of course we got the Domino Squad. The Domino Squad, like Heavy, Fives, Droid Bait, and Cut Up or Cutaway. I can't remember. I think it was Cutaway.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
Uh, uh, who is that? And well, for other clones, other clones I really like. I like Fox. I mean, even though Fox was kind of the most hated clone because he even tried to kill Ahsoka, and
Mhm.
because she was framed for a crime that she didn't commit, and then
Okay.
not only that, Fox he killed Fives because of trying to expose a conspiracy that Palpatine had put
Okay.
where in season 6 we see Palpatine taking baby steps to become what we know what he is, to reveal himself to the Jedi, that he's a Sith Lord and that he's the
Mhm.
Emperor and that he was the one behind the
Okay.
wars. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is she like a mercenary or something?
So, what?
Is she a mercenary or something?
Like Ahsoka?
Yeah.
No, she's a Jedi. She's a Padawan. And,
Oh.
well, later after that, she left the Jedi Order in the ending of Season 5 because, well, the reason why she left was because she wasn't in Episode 3, and it was pretty sad to see her go,
Okay.
even when I watched the Season 5 finale, when I saw it,
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
like, what? What? No, no, that can't happen. That can't happen. I was pretty upset. And then I
Yeah.
heard that Disney bought 20th Century Fox and that they said that they were going to cancel the Clone Wars series. And,
Oh
well,
wow.
yeah, when Disney bought Lucasfilms, that's what I meant, not 20th Century Fox. Because, well,
Mhm.
back in the day, 20th Century Fox owns the rights to Lucasfilms, but now Disney owns the rights. So, since Disney bought
Mhm.
the rights to Lucasfilms, they said that they were going to cancel Clone Wars. And
Okay.
then but Dave Filoni and the crew already finished season 6, and they were about
Mhm.
to get it renewed for a 7th season. But when Disney bought Lucasfilms, they said they were gonna
Mhm.
cancel it, and yeah, it was canceled, and they didn't want to air on Disney XD because Disney didn't want to have a fight with Cartoon Network because Cartoon Network at the time owned the rights to produce the TV series.
Yeah.
And so Disney decided to make their own TV show, known as Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Mhm.
Yeah, which I gotta admit, it was pretty good. It was good as the Clone Wars. Well, Clone Wars was better though, but Rebels was good. I really enjoyed it.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
good.
And then Disney decided to not renew Star Wars Rebels for another season, and they decided to just skip ahead 30 years to Star Wars Resistance. And Star Wars
Mhm.
Resistance, it takes place I guess 30 well, it takes place 30 years after the events of it takes place a bit 30 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, and then it also takes place. Um, I guess it takes. I guess it also takes place a bit 2 years before the events of The Force Awakens.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it was just basically a show to sell toys to a younger audience, which that kind of
Mhm.
sucks. I mean, I'm all into
Why would you
action.
think that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all into action figures, but this isn't Star Wars. I guess it's probably because of my
Uh.
age. I guess it's probably because of, well, my age, or maybe it's because that I'm a long life Star Wars fanboy, but I gotta keep it real. But
Mhm.
no, I didn't keep it real. I hate Star Wars Resistance. I mean, it was too kid friendly, and
Yeah.
I didn't feel that much interested in the characters. But I will
Okay.
say good things like the animation. The animation looks nice. It's not as good as Clone Wars or Rebels, but it's good
Okay.
at best. And other things I like to say is the main character Kaz. Um, Kaz was not that much. Well, he was more likely of a funny character. He was more like Jar Jar, but except it's a bit more annoying than Jar Jar, and I don't feel that much interested in investing in the character. He's supposed to be like this cool pilot and, of course, a spy for the Resistance, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just turned out to be a goofball. Um, yeah, I mean, Disney, it feels like that Disney did not learn their lesson and just decided to, you know what, let's just make it kid friendly and uh, let's not, let's not make it more mature like Clone Wars or Rebels, and let's not make it connected or something like that. Let's just ignore Rebels and Clone Wars. Which that kind of sucks because it doesn't feel because Resistance in my opinion doesn't feel like that much of a true sequel connected to the Clone Wars or to Rebels. It doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like Disney trying to make more money to sell toys and basically make it more entertaining for kids who were or maybe were not a big fan of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I mean, everything has to be a marketing strategy nowadays.
yeah. I mean, yeah, but well, in order to understand a TV show, well, first the TV show it doesn't well, it's not just about the good ratings and all. It also has to do with marketing as well. Like take Young Justice for example. Young Justice, sure, it was mature and more likely for teenagers and adults instead of for kids, but kids do enjoy it and kids do buy the toys. Some kids do, but others don't because of due to some poor advertising, and that's why Cartoon Network canceled Young Justice due to poor advertising. And of course, with Star Wars: The Clone Wars, since it was renewed for a sixth season, it was also made to sell toys, and it did made a lot of money from toy sales, and hence why it was getting renewed for a sixth season. But yeah, even though that the show was mature, it still was good. It still was good for it was still good for the network and you know basically yeah that was basically what it is even though it was marketing but as long as there's like good storytelling and great writing great acting and great characters that all the people can like.
Relate to.
Yeah, really too. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about the mute or something like that. Another thing. Uh, yeah, nowadays Disney is just replacing all the good TV shows, trying to make it more to sell toys and to be aimed more to kids. Meanwhile, those shows, sure, they were aimed to kids, but they were more aimed to a mature audience. But yeah, nowadays it doesn't work. But we do got some shows like Young Justice already renewed for a third season. Now it's getting renewed for a seventh season. I
Mm-hmm.
mean a fourth season. It's getting renewed for a It's getting renewed for a fourth season. We also got other shows that kids could enjoy. Like for example, we got the Arrowverse shows like Arrow, and then Flash and Supergirl, and many other shows. I mean,
Okay.
those shows,
Nice.
yeah. Even though those shows were more likely aimed for adults, but they keep it a bit like entertained for some people to enjoy. Yep.
That's good. I mean, try to cater with all the audience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. But, yeah, for Clone Wars Season 7, let's talk about Season 7 of the Clone Wars. So, I'm pretty excited for Season 7 because we're about to see all those canceled stories before Clone Wars was canceled and being bought for Disney. Like, for example, what happened to Ahsoka after when she left the Jedi Order. Basically, what will happen to that is that would, Ahsoka would just be helping. the people in the lower streets of Coruscant, and she would meet a smuggler known as Jace, I guess, or I don't know the smuggler's name. I can't remember, but I saw this clip on YouTube, anyways, um, and the smuggler would have been some sort of a love interest to Ahsoka. Uh,
Okay.
other things other things that did not make it to that people wanted to see for stories is the Dark Disciple stories, where we could have seen where Disciple what Disciple would have been teaming up with a Ventress, teaming up with Asajj Ventress after when Ventress became a bounty hunter, and this would have taken place after when she helped Ahsoka, proving her innocence that she did not kill a woman in prison, and
Okay.
and she would just go on to keep her bounty hunting life going, and then she would meet Disciple, and Disciple would have to ask her about how to defeat Count Dooku, because well, in the book, what I heard from is that Count Count Dooku killed his mother, and
Okay.
he
Wow,
want
that really stinks.
yeah, and he wants to get revenge. He wants to get revenge on he wants to get revenge on Dooku for what he has done, and he would have teamed up with Ventress, and then the next we would have seen like a couple of Bad Batch episodes. Bad Batch is basically like a special squad of clone troopers, and they basically don't work for any Jedi whatsoever, and that they would just rather work with their own instead of working with Jedi's or regular clones. But but of course they accept.
Will it be worth it?
Would the Bad Batch episodes be worth it?
Well, in general, will the season be worth it?
Yeah, this would be worth it because of course it's Clone Wars, and the show was really good, and it was a part of my childhood, but it just canceled right there when it was renewed for sixth season, and basically what else other than that. For Bad Batch episodes, this Bad Batch episode would have been different. There are some Bad Batch episodes that were released on YouTube, and you can go check that out. And with these Bad Batch episodes, it would have shown about why Yoda had a good connection with the Wookiees, and it would have referenced some Easter eggs from like the God Awful Holiday Special, and um, and basically would have explained about why Yoda had a good connection to the Wookiees. Yeah. And then with this other episode, it would have focused on young Boba Fett now wearing his iconic suit for the first time during the Clone Wars, and he and Cad Bane would work together to save, I guess, a kid from who was being captive from the Sand People, and after when he saved the kid, Cad Bane betrays him, and well, they do a blaster duel, and Cad Bane would have possibly died, and Boba Fett would have gotten the iconic dent on his helmet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it would have been interesting, and now we're gonna see it. Other than that, we would have also seen like Darth Maul, Dar- about what happened to Darth Maul after when he escaped from Emperor Palpatine, where he would have gone back to his home planet Dathomir, and basically that's what Sidious wants. He wants Maul to escape, to lead him to his Mother Talza, and then basically kill her, and then Maul, he will have no other choice but to just go back to where he was, basically to continue ruling Mandalore and to get revenge on Kenobi. And well, that would have ended with Ahsoka and Darth Maul fighting, and that didn't really happen. And I really wanted to see Ahsoka and Darth Maul fighting, and it would have explained about it would have explained more about what happened to him, and not only that, it would have explained about how he survived from the Clone Wars and how did how did he met Ahsoka in Rebels.
You're asking me?
Well, no, I wasn't asking.
Oh.
Yeah, but it would have explained about how he met Ahsoka in Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Kind of like the backstory.
yeah, kind of like the backstory. And of
Okay.
course, a few episodes in season 7 would have focused more on Order 66, where Rex where Rex realizes, where Rex helps Ahsoka to find a safe place for her so that the clones won't have to hunt her, and where Order 66 happens, and we know that Captain Rex doesn't commit Order 66 because of the inhibitor chip that he's removed. Well, he removed it before Order 66 was committed, and well, people wanted to see Rex's reaction, saying, "Whoa, what happened? What was Fives right this entire time?" And it would have been true because Fives was actually right this entire time because he was trying to expose the Emperor for his plot about the inhibitor chips. But of course, that didn't happen and it failed, and the Emperor won. The Emperor, and it was still a secret. The Jedi didn't suspect anything. Yeah, but it is what it is. They have to like make it canon. Uh, yeah, it would have helped. We would have seen Captain Rex and Ahsoka helping Wolf and Gregor removing their chips, and after that they would have gone their separate ways, and Ahsoka, Rex, Wolf, and Gregor would have faked their own deaths, going in their separate ways, and that's how the series would end. That's how the series would have ended. Yeah, and too bad that we didn't get to see it. That, of course, until now when we're getting Disney Plus. Well, since we have Disney Plus, it's getting renewed for a 7th season.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good for the audience.
yeah, very good for the audience. I mean, I saw the trailer. I was pretty hyped up. Much more when I was, well, as much as I was hyped up for Young Justice being renewed for a 7th season. And I was clapping my hands saying, "Wow, wow! I should definitely, I should definitely get this somewhere." Wait, and I was like, "Wait, is this gonna be on Netflix? Is this gonna be on Disney XD? Is it gonna be on Cartoon Network or something like that?" Well, Cartoon Network couldn't air it because, of course, they don't own the TV show rights to. They don't produce the rights anymore. So, yeah, that kind of sucks for them. But after when I found out that it was being aired on Disney Plus, I finally had Disney Plus and I finally saw The Mandalorian, and I was finally waiting to see Clone Wars season 7. A lot of people, including like cosplayers like LL Spidey, and of course my brother, wants to see this story, and we cannot wait for that long since it's going to be in February 17th, in which we have to wait for 1 month. I mean, 1 month wasn't that bad, and it's gonna be released on September 17th. Yeah.
Wow.
Next topic. The Avengers 2020 video game. Avengers A Day. What do you think about the game so far?
I mean, I've been hearing that not many people, I think, are very happy with the graphics, uh, but that it might seem good in some ways. Um, and that's honestly it.
Hmm.
I Everything I hear, quite honestly, with what's current, it's through my partners at my job.
Huh.
I am,
Not a lot of people are
yeah.
happy because they're most likely happy for the upcoming Batman Arkham game, since WB Montreal last year on Batman Day already announced that that another Batman Arkham game would have come, and it would have had the Court of Owls as the main villains. And well, The Court of Owls, if you don't know who the Court of Owls is, the Court of Owls are basically like rich people who are committing some crimes, and they wear masks to protect their identities and wear some cool uniforms. And they even tried to manipulate Damian Wayne in the comics, including in like this DC anime film known as Batman vs. Robin, and it didn't work. In the comics, Damian was actually undercover, and he knew about who the Court of Owls is. But in the movie, he wasn't undercover. He actually thought that they will make the world a better place, and it turns out they weren't gonna they weren't gonna make the world a better place. They were gonna make they were gonna make it worse, and they luckily stop it. They luckily stop it, and basically, yeah. But that kind of disappoints me because I really wish that would have been kept in the movie, but they decided to just, well, not put it in the movie. Oh wait. Oh, they decided to just not put it in the movie and just decide to let Damian Wayne let Damian Wayne believe them instead of being undercover, trying to agree with them. Um, yeah, I mean, I really want to see that Batman Arkham video game coming out. The Avengers 2020 video game, I heard it's being delayed to September 2020.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm not, well, I'm kind of surprised, but at the same time, it's probably good because I will possibly go get it on my birthday. Because my birthday's on September 27th. And I can't wait to.
Okay. Nice.
Yep, I can't wait to go get it. Maybe on my birthday, or maybe when I have enough money. Maybe when I saved enough money, but at the same time, I'm still saving enough money for Rose City Comic Con.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, what do you think about the story so far? For what the plot, basically the plot so far. What do you think about the plot of the game,
Which game?
Avengers?
I think it's okay.
I think it was pretty good. Although, yeah, they just show like the same gameplay demo. It's kind of like Sonic Forces all over again, but this time it's Marvel. But I'm really hoping that it's not a letdown and it doesn't like disappoint the fans for the hype of the game, because I heard rumors saying that both Spider-Man PS4 and what else? Spider-Man PS4 and the Avengers 8 video game are in the same universe, because Spider-Man did mention that the Avengers are in the South. I guess the South. I don't know, that they were like somewhere around the South in a celebration, which that's basically where the beginning of the game takes place, in California, where they're celebrating, and then someone um is attacking like the Golden Bridge, and it turns out to be Taskmaster. I mean, I like the demo of the game. It's just that, well, I just wish that we could have seen more, and hoping that we can see more, and hoping that the game won't suck and won't be a disappointment. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. DC or Marvel?
Um. Ironically, I cosplay mostly Marvel characters, but I do like a couple of DC villains.
Like, what DC villains do you really like to cosplay as?
Um, I would like to, hopefully in a not so far future, get to do Catwoman. My ideal cosplay is to probably do like Catwoman from the Batman Returns movie.
Oh,
She was like, when I was a kid and that movie came out, I was just kind of like, that's it. I actually had the mask once for Halloween when I was like, I think like 8 or something like that. Then I would ideally, maybe at some point in my life, I would like to do Bombshell Harley Quinn. And those are like really the two villains that I I kind of enjoy.
Yeah, I mean they're really good. They're really good villains. And Harley Quinn. I don't know if you heard, but Harley Quinn had got her own animated show on DC Universe, and it's overall pretty good so far. I really enjoyed it. The jokes are really funny. The action is really good. The blood and gore is pretty amazing. Sometimes it takes it a bit too far, but it's a DC universe show, and it's not like aired in like the any of the other networks that would have let it be, because of course they have to censor it or something like that. Yeah, and the show is basically not aimed towards the kids. The show is just basically more likely like Rick and Morty, South Park, or Family Guy.
That's good. At least
Yeah,
it gives them a little bit more creative freedom.
yeah. I really wish that we could have seen a bit more of. Huh, I'm not sure. Maybe some other unlikely villains other than Calendar Man or Kite Man. Uh, I don't know what kind of other villains would they want to introduce, like unknown villains, like D-list villains, like one of the worst villains that we've seen so far in comics. I mean, what would you want to see a villain in the Harley Quinn TV series?
I don't know because I really haven't seen the series. I
Huh.
don't have DC Universe. But if it's a wild guess, I guess I can try to think of maybe Scarecrow.
Yeah, he does appear in some scenes of the series. Maybe Catwoman. I guess. Well, she was mentioned in the series, but we never seen her
Okay.
or heard from her basically. Hold on. Let me try to move from here because I gotta charge my camera. Well, yeah, basically, I would have definitely want to see Catwoman in the series. So another news. We also heard that X-Men the animated series, the one from 1992 or 1994, I guess, from the 1990s. I heard uh it's getting renewed for another season. I heard that the creators of the X-Men animated series, they want to bring back the series. They want to continue where they left off, and they want to bring back the original voice actors back.
Wow, that would be pretty wild.
Yeah, I definitely would want to see that. Well, I heard that it's already in the talks, and that these people and that the creators want to make it happen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, that would be good for all like other people roughly around my age that would see it, or at least those that have Disney Plus.
yeah,
So I don't, so it's not that deep for me. But it is exciting to hear. It was a series that I grew up with when I was a kid.
yeah. Me too. But my dad wouldn't let me watch it because of how violent and how realistic the series watch. And my parents were a bit strict on what films or what TV shows would I watch. But I would watch it over. Oh, wait, sorry about that. But I would definitely I watched the series over and over again when I was a kid, and I definitely loved it, and definitely loved reading the comics as well when I was a kid, and I definitely enjoyed watching the series, including like watching the modern day series like X-Men Evolution or Wolverine and the X-Men. Have you ever seen like X-Men Evolution or Wolverine and the X-Men?
Mm-mm. Any animated series outside of the original one that I saw, I really didn't see. I'm vaguely aware of some of them. Actually, a good friend of mine introduced me to like an animated version of not an animated. What I meant to say is a Japanese anime version of the X Men.
Hmm.
Mostly, he was introducing me to the opening theme, which in turn was pretty boss. It was actually better than the '90s series. Not that I'm trying to rip on the one favorite series to my heart, but
Hmm.
I have to say, in terms of compare and contrast, yeah, they definitely delivered more than
Yeah,
the
much like more when
Japanese anime version.
yeah, much more like when I liked Spider-Man the animated series growing up when I was a kid, but then when I saw like the 2003 Spider-Man the new animated series, when I saw like the Spider-Man the new anime series, which aired in 2003. I definitely loved watching the series because of how mature and how the writers were giving free creative control for the series, since Spider-Man could punch villains, but this was something that he couldn't do in the 90s because of family friendly moments, and they want to make the show uh, tame for kids. I Yeah. Other things I really wanted to see. Well, and then when I saw Spectacular Spider-Man, I was like, wow, Spectacular Spider-Man is much better. It's much better than the 90s cartoon. Well, not that I did not really like the 90s cartoon, but it was much better in some other ways because of how it was set up in the high school. It was set up in high school where Peter Parker was 15 or 16 years old in the comics, and in Spider-Man the Animated Series, he just looks more like a guy in his mid-20s. He looks more like a bodybuilder. And in the 2003 series, he just basically, in the new animated series, he basically just looks, I guess, average, like a DJ or something like that. And then, in Ultimate Spider-Man, he looks somewhere around 19 or 18. And in the Raimi trilogy, he looks more like a young adult, and that's also something that happened in the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. But he looks and acts like a teenager, and that is something that TV, film, and media are getting wrong. I mean, they should try to get the right actor, like Tom Holland, for example, since he seems like the right age for Spider-Man. Since in the MCU, Spider-Man was like 15 in the events of Spider-Man: Homecoming, and the events of Civil War, and then and in Spider-Man: Far From Home, he was like 16.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely loved I definitely love Spectacular Spider-Man, but it's too bad that it was canceled. And it was basically when Disney bought the TV rights to Spider-Man, and Sony was allowed to keep the filming rights to Spider-Man, and they decided to just, you know what, let's just reboot Spider-Man anyways. We're gonna cancel Spider-Man 4 and just remake it into the Amazing Spider-Man. And they copied the origin story, like in the Raimi trilogy, and well, they redid the origin story from the Raimi trilogy, and well, Spider-Man's origin story doesn't have to be retold over and over again because we already know his origin story. Yeah, and Sony does not listen to the fans, and the movies were not that amazing. And after the success of the Amazing Spider-Man, they decided to make a sequel to the Amazing Spider-Man. They decided to make a sequel to the reboot, Amazing Spider-Man 2, and we already know how that went. It just it just sucked. It wasn't that much really good. It just disappoints the fans, and it crammed too many villains, and it just seemed that Sony did not learn their previous lesson from Spider-Man 3. Not only that, they also put Rhino, they spoiled the ending when they put Rhino in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, I was like, what? Sony, how can you do this? Don't put characters that you're gonna spoil in the film. Don't put Rhino in there. I mean, he doesn't have to be he doesn't have to be like in so many advertisements. And basically, yeah, the only reason why Rhino was there was just basically for the fanboys, and a lot of people were disappointed about Rhino because he just quickly showed up to the ending, and yeah, he was just showed up to the ending, and it was really really bad. It just doesn't feel like a Spider-Man film that fans did not like at all. It was way worse than it was way worse than Spider-Man 3 and the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. And Green Goblin, his suit looks very similar to the new Green Goblin from Spider-Man 3. And it looked bad. It looked terrible. It looks way more worse than the new Green Goblin suit in Spider-Man 3. Although the new Green Goblin suit in Spider-Man 3 was okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh. I mean, what did you think of the Amazing Spider-Man 2? Or you haven't seen it yet?
I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies.
Hmm.
I don't really go to movies, unfortunately.
Because of school?
School is one of them. It's just that I'm very terrible when it comes to following sequels and stuff like that.
Huh.
And I just honestly get lazy to even want to go to the movies. I literally don't do anything. I just go to work, I come back home, and that's really it.
Um,
It's not exciting.
hmm. Yeah, well, I would definitely, well, whenever, like, I'm, like, off school, I would definitely most likely, like to, well, I would definitely most likely like to watch some movies when I heard, oh my god, they're out, and I really want to see them, and even some big films like Infinity War, Endgame, cause of, well, cause they're really big films, and I really want to see them, and of course, Rise of Skywalker as well.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I mean, I got lucky for that. Hold on. I got lucky for those. I definitely got lucky for those because of some time I spend with school homework, getting caught up on some homework. Basically, yeah. Are you excited for Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I guess, unfortunately, this is where it stems back to I could probably see trailers. I did see, like, last year,
The Black Widow
I
movie
was
trailer?
watching, like, a few of from San Diego Comic-Con, like, a few, how they were, like, announcing it and stuff like that, which seems pretty boss. It's kind of cool. Me, personally, realistically, I know I'm not going to see any of the movies.
Hmm.
Not because I don't want to. It's because I am, again, terrible when it comes to following the sequels. I haven't seen any of the other MCU movies. All right, I'm lying. I did see a few, but I didn't see the whole thing.
Hmm.
So, Infinity War, Endgame, anything prior to that, I still haven't seen. And when I tell people when I go to cons, they give me a look, and I kind of don't care because
Hmm.
I don't know if I'll eventually get to see it.
Hmm.
Then, secondly, it does seem pretty cool. Like, everybody's hyped for all the movies that are going to come out, saying that it's going to be like a whole big deal pertaining to like connecting one character to another, and then Black Widow, where we're seeing all her background stories and how she started, and I know like one friend of mine who cosplays mostly Hawkeye. He's kind of hyped for like his show that's coming out. I believe. I think it's a show or is it a movie? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's the show, the Hawkeye TV show. But I heard it's being delayed, which that sucks. Well, it's being delayed for now, but I'm really hoping that the Hawkeye TV show won't be a disappointment. I even heard rumors saying that Haley Steinfeld was gonna play Kate Bishop in the TV show. Kate Bishop, who is basically like the younger version of Hawkeye, but a female version of Hawkeye. Yeah, I mean, I definitely really want to see what happened to Hawkeye after the events of Avengers Endgame. And then, of course, we're going to have Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out on Disney Plus. And I'll have to wait until next year. And next year, that's where I graduate high school.
Cool.
Yeah. Not only that, we're also going to have WandaVision. And originally, it was going to be released in 2021 or 2022. But then it but then that release date was canceled, and something pretty exciting happened that I did not expect to see. And
Okay.
that was that WandaVision was going to be released this year. It was going to be released this year, and I was like, what? It's going to be released this year? I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited now that it's going to be released for this year. And I can't wait to see it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be released like for this summer or if it's either going to be released like over November or December. I don't know. It probably depends on the release date, depending on the budget of the TV series. Since Star Wars, since Star Wars Mandalorian was being renewed for a second season, and is gonna tell like the cliffhanger that they left, the cliffhanger that Um, that Grand Mothma, I believe that was the villain's name of season one. He stole the dark saber from Lady Bo-Katan, who won the dark saber. Who won the dark saber in Star Wars Rebels? At first, she didn't want it because she said that she was not worthy of it. I believe that's what it is. But after thinking about it and thinking about her sister, since her sister Duchess Satine died from the clutches of Darth Maul when Maul took over Mandalore, and he stole the dark saber from Pre Vizsla after winning the duel.
Okay.
Yeah. What else after that? Um, yeah, I mean, I really want to see Lady Bo-Katan in the series since they hinted out some animated characters. They already hinted out Death Watch, and we already seen Death Watch in the Mandalorian flashback scene where Mando was hiding from battle droids and his parents were killed from battle droids, and then the battle droids were killed by Death Watch, and I think Lady Bo-Katan took Mando in and teach him the ways of the Mandalorians. I think it was Lady Bo-Katan. I'm not sure, or it's probably someone else, but I feel like that it's Lady Bo-Katan. Yeah.
Okay.
Um. Other than that, hmm. Um. Hmm. What are you most excited for? Coming to Amazon Prime or Hulu or Netflix?
Um, in terms of Amazon Prime, there's a show. I think they're called The Watchers or something like that. That's with Al Pacino. It seems that it's history related. I'm not saying in terms of based on true events, but more so like where the idea comes from. It looks like he recruits some people to, I think, get back on some things that probably happened in the past. I don't know for sure. It's on trailer right now. I've seen it a couple of times, but
Mm.
it's like one of those things that it's like I'll see and then later on I'll just like totally forget about it. Um, then uh, Hulu, well, it's like the only thing I really watch through Hulu is just ghost documentaries and the few cartoons that I'll usually watch just to catch up on. And when it comes to Netflix, generally I'm just kind of watching. Really, I'm just rewatching shows that I really enjoyed, and that's
Yeah.
honestly it.
I don't get to watch that much Netflix because at the time I didn't have like a membership. I don't have the membership now. Basically, I would just basically just borrow a friend of mine's and then we would just give the account back to him.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and other than that, but nowadays we got other networks other than Hulu, Netflix, or Amazon Prime. I mean, sure, in Amazon Prime we have shows like The Boys now, and The Boys is getting renewed for a second season, and it's going to be retelling. Well, it's going to be like taking place where season one left off.
I think they're actually done filming second season, I believe. But the
Yeah,
show is pretty boss. Like, it threw my brain into a blender after I watched it.
yeah. I mean, what is something that you're most excited for The Boys season two? Like,
um, I, I guess, like, when they break down the explanation of Butcher's, like, wife and the kid that she had, not with him, of course, like, with,
Homelander.
fuck, what's his name? Yeah, Homelander. Um, So that was interesting. I had to like talk to another partner about it because like the
Yeah,
last episode threw me off slightly,
yeah. Well,
but it was interesting. That's really the only thing because then
yeah,
we already see that A Train is like
hurt and still kind of like sensitive about his ego, and now it's like he lost his girlfriend and stuff like that. Um, Really, I am interested in seeing how Starlight really develops, because
Yeah,
it's like first she was like some country girl that really wanted to be with the Seven, and
but
then she
it
sees
was not what they
how the
expected.
Seven's true colors are, and it's like not really what she anticipated, and now
Yeah,
she has to like really push herself to grow out of her shell and get a thicker skin against these people, and like on one hand kind of work with them because that's her only option, and then on the other hand sort of like she has to really look out only for herself and nobody but herself.
yeah, and not only that, Starlight realizes that well, she thought she had these powers, like she was born like some sort of mutant or metahuman, and thought that God gave her these powers, but it turns out that that wasn't the
It was an
case.
experiment.
Yeah, she was sold by her mom to Vought, and basically to be experimented on, and basically her mom sold her so that she can pay off her debts, which was pretty stupid in some other ways, and she had problems finding a job, she had problems with money, and she doesn't know what to do until when Vought talked to her, and and she decided to trade to she decided to give her daughter away to be experimented on. All this because she was greedy for money and she had problems with money. And her
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and Starlight's father realized this, and I was like, who's Starlight's father? I really want to see the guy. Like, what does he look like? What does
Mm-hmm.
he look like? And we know that his reaction is that I don't want to live in a life where my daughter is being a lab rat and you're just using her for fame and money,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't let you do that. And then basically he left. I guess he got a divorce or something, or maybe he just left. But do you
Who
think then?
knows? It is kind of hard to determine.
Yeah, since
It's just like it just sucks because then because she has like those powers and stuff like that,
yeah,
and since she's like all weak, for her religion and whatnot, and they're kind of using her for that to be like, oh well, yeah, like you've been blessed, and now it's like you're part of a circle that saves the world. When
mm-hmm,
realistically, it's not really like. I mean, she has good intentions. She means no malice. The
yeah,
only problem is that the circle she's in, she's going to have to change her intentions. Not necessarily for the world, but more like
for
what
the
is the
team.
benefit that she's going to get out of it.
Yeah, that's what I really like about her character. And not only that, she also fell in love with Huey. She fell in love with Huey. Remember when she fell in love with Huey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Huey would never replace his girlfriend after when his girlfriend was killed by A Train, and Huey wanted to get revenge. But then he realizes that revenge isn't a path to peace. It's a path to a dead end. And he wanted to go from killing A Train, but then after when A Train was like when he couldn't take control of the drug anymore, that he used from Vought to make him have super speed powers, and then he starts having a heart attack. He starts having
Yep.
heart failure, and Huey starts to do CPR on A Train. He starts as a pushover, and then when when his girlfriend dies from A Train by accident, um, he
Yeah,
start.
because A Train can't stop.
Yeah, I mean he can't stop, but yeah, I mean that was kind of pretty dark, but I really liked the series overall, and it was well written. I mean, Homelander, he's basically manipulative. He basically knew everything. He knew everything from the start. I mean, Natalie Stillwell, right?
The female, like
Yeah,
that lady that's like the manager to everybody,
yep.
I think it is. I kind of forgot her name.
That created the Seven and that experimented on them, and when they were kids. Yeah, yeah. Homelander knew everything. Homelander knew that she was hiding something from her when Natalie told her that uh, Becca Be- Becca died and the baby was in a miscarriage, but that wasn't true because He heard everything. And not and well, Natalie's relationship with Homelander, it's a bit weird. Like really, really weird. I mean, when you first saw like that scene where Natalie was hitting on Homelander, how did you feel? Did you feel uncomfortable? Because I kind of felt uncomfortable in some sort of way. Well, it just felt weird. It just felt like it felt like that it wasn't
I
real.
mean,
It felt
I
like a
didn't feel
dream.
anything. Honestly, it's just like I just saw it as a cougar. If you don't know, the term of her is pretty much an older woman trying to hit on a younger dude. Like, so she looks like she's in her 50s, and Homelander is probably like in his late 30s
30s?
or something like that.
He's probably like in his
Um,
30s, I guess.
yeah, roughly around that number. I'm just throwing numbers out there. What I'm getting at is that, you know, she's like older, so therefore it's like she's just trying to hit on him so that way she can manipulate him to her benefit.
Yeah,
So it's just like kind of becomes those like situations where it's like, again, people in a world where it's like competition and pretty much
yeah,
um,
yeah. We know.
it's either competition or like a race in general as to like what you're going to get out of anything.
Yeah,
So that's what it really comes down to. And then everybody in that series is like, okay, so we're going to get them because of doing this or whatever, and we're going to like reveal like what their true colors are and shit like that.
yeah. Not only that, she even blackmailed a U.S. senator, and she didn't create this heroes because she wants to protect the world or something like that. She's not like that. She's not a good person at all.
Mm,
I mean, she's very like
yeah.
she's
But
not that
that's
much.
also real anyway, because like people, even in the real world, are like even the bigger politicians are like manipulated and bought out and stuff like that. So
Yeah, yeah, like Chancellor Palpatine when he was manipulating everyone including the Jedi, and he just sets them up when he commits Order 66. He told the clones to kill the Jedi, and all the Jedi were killed except for Obi-Wan, Yoda, Ahsoka, Kanan, and like that Padawan from Jedi Fallen Order, which Jedi Fallen Order is canon because it does show about the hints, like for example the voice message from Obi-Wan Kenobi that was shown in Star Wars Rebels, and they go to the planet Dathomir, and they even mention about Ventress betraying the Sith, and that she joins the Night Sisters. Yeah, I mean, Natalie Stillwell, she's basically just greedy. She created these heroes for fame and fortune, and basically wanted the government to approve these heroes to join the army. And so the army quickly agreed, and the CEO decided to let her. The CEO of Vought decided to let her become the next CEO of Vought when he retires.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, everybody's greedy in the series, so it's like not
Yeah,
anything new. It's just like how everybody else develops outside of that
yeah,
greediness or what happens as a consequence.
yeah,
So that series is very consequential.
yeah. I'm so about Starlight's mother. How did she feel now when she looked back and when she sold her daughter as an experiment? I mean, did she react like sad, or she didn't show any remorse at all and just keeps making up excuses?
I mean, to an extent, you can kind of tell she feels pretty stupid because
Yeah,
at some point, I think like Starlight sort of like figures it out for herself that
yeah,
she isn't like this blessed kid.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
but low key, like her mom just really doesn't care in the first place.
yeah. I mean, it just seems worse. It's like how it's way worse than how Zatanna when how Zatanna and Miss Martian actually made Artemis think that she was talking to Wally West and summoning Wally West's soul, but it turns out that that wasn't actually Wally West. That was actually That was actually a vision. That was actually an illusion created by Miss Martian. Basically, they just wanted to cheer her up, but they just decide to fake it anyways, which that's definitely so wrong in so many ways. Deciding to faking it, that is very wrong, and it's just playful wrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wrong.
yeah. They just decided to they just decided to pretend to summon Wally West's ghost. They decided to summon him from the dead, but well, Satana, she couldn't do it because she lacks the power. So they decided to fake it. Yeah, which that is definitely wrong in so many ways. Um, other than that, um, so Homelander. One thing I really found interesting about Homelander's character is that Homelander never grew up with a family. He never had a family of his own. He never had a mother. He never had a father, nor a grandfather or a grandmother. He never had siblings. He never had
It was
ancestors.
an experiment. That's what he was.
Yeah, I mean, was he like a clone? Like those clone troopers?
Mm, I don't know about clone troopers, but the little bit I know is that he was just an experiment, just as much as the other ones that the other kids that have powers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They were
but
like man-made.
yeah, but those other kids, they were born with biological parents. Well, a few of them were born with biological parents. Meanwhile,
I mean,
Homeland,
he evidently was probably like was one of those, but they had to take him as a kid or as a baby or whatever, and then kind of like in give him like either compound B or just kind of like find a way where they would create like this all
yeah,
American perfect superhero, that being him,
yeah,
like a poster hero.
or like much how like when like those aliens from Camino decided to clone Jango Fett for the clone trooper army. Much maybe they possibly must have tricked a kid to eat an ice cream or to eat something like that, to eat something sweet, and decide to get the DNA from the kid and decide to clone it and give it powers or something like that.
I mean, theories and possibilities are infinite, so
Yeah, but I bet he's a clone. I bet he's a clone. I bet he really is a
probably.
clone. And well, for other things, like I said, he never grew up with a family, and the only thing that was closest to his family was Dr. Volkobaum, the man that had, the man that had experimented him on, and Volkobaum said that he should have been raised with a normal family, not by doctors in an experiment, which was true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine if Homelander was free and he would have never been held as an experiment from Vought. He would have been normal. He would have used his powers for good and would not use his powers for evil, and it would have been different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what about like the Deep? Remember when he molested Starlight?
Yeah, I don't like him. I
Yeah,
mean, I personally don't have a favorite. I don't have a like or dislike on anybody. I just
yeah,
he's one that I don't appreciate at all
yeah,
because of what he did.
yeah,
But again, it stems back. The series itself stems back to like manipulation as a whole. Everybody's manipulative in their own way. The
yeah,
manipulation comes to seeking what is beneficial to that particular character. So in
yeah,
this circumstance, unfortunately, this dude told Starlight to do the following in order for her to like either keep quiet or, well, in this case, just for her to like still be in the series. I mean, in the series, still be with the heroes and like not make it seem that she's crazy or anything like that. So
yeah,
it could be anything, and it's like an agree or disagree kind of thing. And then I know a few people find him like because his character is kind of funny, but as a whole, it's like I can see where he's like second banana to everybody because he's
yeah,
just kind of like like part of the being a sea hero, and that's it.
yeah.
But he's nothing else if he's not near water.
I mean, he's like Aquaman and the Submariner, but except Aquaman and the Submariner, they don't, they don't hit on people like that. And not only that, the Deep, well, he too was sexually molested by a fan, like a big fan. Remember? Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
yeah,
It's been a
yeah,
while since I watched the series, so.
yeah. I mean, she was pretty crazy. She was she was basically pretty crazy, but yeah, I don't know why. Maybe she has a huge crush on the Deep. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, the Deep was, well, not that much of an interesting character at all. But the only interesting characters that I found in the series were Homelander, A Train, Butcher, Huey, Starlight. I mean, there are some fan favorite characters like Black Noir. I mean, he's pretty interesting. Black Noir, who's basically like Batman in that universe, but of course he's different. And in the comics, he's the clone of Homelander. But in the TV series, it doesn't mention if he's either a clone of Homelander. I don't know, it's never explained. You know, they're keeping it a mystery maybe until season 2 or maybe until further seasons. I don't know, but I really hope that they do explain that he is a clone or that he's not a clone, or I really do hope that they explain about his origins in the show um in the well in the second season. Oh, and
It
Queen.
would just depend how close they'll make it to the comics.
Huh. What about Queen Maeve? I mean, remember when she used to be Homelander's girlfriend? And she was
Yeah.
like Wonder Woman, except she can't fly and she doesn't have an invisible jet for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, evidently they're gonna make it different. The whole point is like to be these heroes that are opposite than what everybody thinks.
Right,
Where everybody has this mindset, and the hero, according to a social construct, is the person that does good, the person that does everything right, the person that leads justice into its place, the person that will do everything unconditionally without expecting anything in return.
right,
So in this circumstance, everybody, including Queen Maeve, as well as everybody else in between, are not those heroes. They pretend to be, they're poster heroes, and everybody else sees them as such. They're like the greatest people ever.
right,
But behind the curtains, they're the worst in
right,
every aspect.
right. I mean, they're shown that they cannot be inspired due to their dark side that they have. I mean, that's basically because of like Madeline Madeline Stillwell, when she experimented on them, or either cloned them from some clone templates, much like when Camino did with Jango Fett, you know, for the clone army. Um, yeah, I mean Queen Maeve, when in the comics she was an alcoholic, but in the series she's not that much of an alcoholic. At least that's what she's shown. I mean, she talks to Starlight a lot because, of course, Starlight reminds her of her younger self, of like her younger self when she wanted to be a superhero. I mean, Starlight didn't have that much of a good life, and she wanted to have a dream of her own, but for some reason she didn't, and never had a chance to experience what she wanted to do after when she graduate high school, or what she wanted to do when she decides to leave her family, like when she wants to like go and do her own big thing, like move in an apartment, get a job, go to college. And that never happened. That never happened, and she ended up joining the Seven, and they show their true colors, realizing that they're not good, that they're not what they've seen uh, behind the scenes. They're not good people. They're nothing. They're just basically just people that are being rich and famous and that are greedy for money and decide to use their powers for their own purposes, like for money, drugs, fame, and many others.
Yeah.
Um, that's basically what they are. I mean, overall, the show is pretty interesting, and I give it like 5 stars. Yeah, I mean, even though the show was pretty good and pretty interesting, it still is. But I mainly prefer to watch Young Justice instead, mainly because of how more interesting it probably is, but The Boys is also more interesting.
Hmm.
And I can't wait to get it renewed for. I can't wait to see it getting renewed for a second season. When fans says we want a second season, we want a second season, and they already worked on a second season, and they're already done filming with it, and they're ready to publish these second season episodes. I don't know when's the second season gonna be released. I guess summer, or it says it was gonna be released in 2020, but where? Like summer, November, December, October.
Who knows?
Yeah, but we have to be patient because, of course, it might take a lot of editing and a lot of experience to work on some cool new special effects and many others for the show. But yeah, I'm really hoping to see. I'm really hoping to see what will happen in the second season. Like, what's gonna happen to the boy that Becca raised for so long? Like, will Beck? I mean, like in the comics, we know that the boy, well, he came out. He came out of Becca right after when Homelander raped her. But but it turns out in the comics, it turns out that it wasn't Homelander. It was actually Black Noir who was pretending to be Homelander uh, after realizing that he was a clone of Homelander, or he might have knew this entire time, being a clone of Homelander. Yeah, I mean, he was a clone of Homelander basically in the comics, and well, we know that after when Homelander raped her, or Black Noir, when Black Noir raped her, the baby comes out of the body, and it wasn't fully grown. It was still developing, and even tried to kill Huey. Oh, no, not Huey. Butcher even tried to kill Butcher, but Butcher easily killed it off, and he was crying, and well, he was sad that his wife died, and well, he decides to join the boys to avenge his wife after when Homelander raped her, and his unborn and the child even tried to kill and the child that even killed Becca with the laser eyes, and even tried to kill Butcher. You know, I mean, do you think that Butcher is gonna kill the son, or do you think that Butcher will not kill the son and just raise the son as his own, teach him the good ways and not the bad ways?
Um, I'm the way you're narrating it just slightly threw me off, but the little bit I remember is the fact that they found a baby in a lab, and in order now, are you narrating this based off the comics? Because I haven't read the comics; I've just seen the series.
Both the comics and the series, like what will, like in the second season, like in the beginning, will Butcher kill the boy, or will he not kill the boy? I mean, we know that he still loves Becca, but he doesn't know how to react. He doesn't know how to react, either react mad or
Because he's in
even.
shock. It's pretty evident that the dude's in shock to find out that his wife still is alive,
Yeah.
and the fact that he had a child from a different person. Now, to my best of knowledge, is that she consented to having sex with one of the heroes in order for this experiment to go through, because the whole point of the experiment was to see that one of these um, heroes can have a child with powers, because that was the whole point of it. They just didn't tell Butcher, and
Yeah.
they played it off like she just died, and it was like all of the, like, he just kind of went with the fact that she died, and it's all the V7's fault, and that was like his revenge
Yeah.
until like he was throughout the whole story.
Yeah. But when he heard rumors saying that she was possibly still alive, and the rumor turns out to be true, but Well, the reunion was not what he expected, and it was just in a complete shock, realizing that realizing that she was raising an evil person's son that could be possibly be evil. I mean, it's kind of like how where these parents from Brightburn. Do you remember the movie Brightburn? Nope.
I haven't seen it.
Brightburn. This movie Brightburn. It was all about like these parents that wanted to have a kid, but they couldn't for some reason, and then when they found like a ship crash landing on the planet Earth from an unknown planet and realizing to raise the baby. Now you might think that this is a Superman ripoff. Well, instead, this is a different kind of Superman. Like this is this is like a Superman that was like 12 years old and he couldn't control his anger and he decides to take his anger out on everybody by using his powers for evil. And he kills like these good people and some people that were mean to him, and he wanted to get revenge because some of these people were even trying to give him a hard were giving him a hard time. He just he turned, and when he was like on the ship, when he found like the ship that the parents found him in, the ship is telling him something. It's telling him that he's not here for a good purpose or anything. It's telling him that he's there to do bad things. He uses these powers to kill the parents that raised him for so long. These good people that welcome him with open arms, and yeah, basically. And then he decides to take his powers. He decided to use these powers for another evil purposes, like try to destroy like a monument or something like that. I don't know, but something pretty interesting. And I even heard that a sequel is in the works.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon Breer would possibly be fighting Homelander since they're both evil Supermen. Yeah, they're both evil Superman. They take advantage of everybody. Although what's different from them is that, well, what's different from them is that Brandon was born with a nice family. Meanwhile, Homelander was an experiment raised in a lab with doctors. Yeah, but it's pretty interesting, and this is something that could be really good for a fan film, if that ever comes to a fan film.
Yeah, possibilities could be endless.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Do you think that it could be a good idea to make it a fan film, or do you think it could be a bad idea?
I mean, it would really. It's not a question of it being good or bad. It just really depends on how.
How will this be executed?
Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. And
Yeah.
then knowing that you can possibly recruit a couple of people that know about the storyline, um, and that could be interested. Because many can know. I don't. I
Yeah.
don't know anything, but
Yeah.
uh, a few others can just kind of have an idea and stuff like that, and that might chime in on like how it would develop or how this character
Yep.
kind of like would come to be after a certain situation or whatever.
Yep. But still, I can't wait to see what will be happening in season 2. I can't wait to see it. Yep. Anyways, that's all for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if so, please subscribe, like, share, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Alright, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And, of course, if so, leave a like in the comments. If you guys want to join my podcast, if you're interested, then please DM me on Instagram or email me or basically, yeah, DM me on Instagram if you guys want to join. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.